Welcome to Her Subconscious Blueprint, your no BS space for subconscious healing, bold breakthroughs, and manifestations. I'm Jenn Boyt, hypnotherapist, mindset coach, and your new healing hype girl. If you're ready to rewire your mind, release the struggle, and start receiving everything you know you're meant for, well, you're in the right place. All right, today's episode is one of those where I already know you're going to feel a little called out, but in the best way possible. Because I'm about to say something that goes against what we've all been taught to believe about struggle. You're not addicted to struggle. You're just attached to familiarity. That's it. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not failing at life. You're not self-sabotaging for no reason. You are just living out a well-practiced, deeply conditioned loop that your subconscious mind has decided is safe, even if it sucks. So let's get into it. Your subconscious mind is kind of like your phone's autocorrect. It's not always right, often super annoying, and fully based on your past behavior. It doesn't care what would make you happy. It just repeats what you've already done, what's already familiar, because that's what feels safe. And that really just illustrates how deep we can get stuck in these cycles that we say we want to break. But part of us is still clinging to it because there's the unknown. This feels safe and it feels familiar because it feels like home, even sometimes when home hurts or it's hard. There was this time in my life, not even that long ago, when I realized I kept ending up in the same emotional landscapes, just with different sceneries. It didn't matter if the job changed, the people were new, or the numbers in my bank account were higher. The feeling underneath it all stayed the same. There was always some level of chaos, tension, or emotional distance. I kept telling myself I wanted ease, that I was ready for peace, but whenever things actually started to feel stable, I would question it. I would brace for something to go wrong. And eventually, I'd unconsciously do something to disrupt it. Not because I wanted pain, but because peace didn't feel familiar. And it took me a long time to see that I wasn't addicted to the struggle. I just hadn't learned how to feel safe without it. And that's what this episode is really about. Not just noticing that you're stuck in struggle, but understanding why. It all comes back to your nervous system and your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't care if something makes you happy. It cares if something is familiar. If you grew up in an environment where chaos was normal or where scarcity was maybe the default or where love had to be earned, guess what? That felt like home to your subconscious mind. Struggle, hardship, overgiving, under-receiving, hustling, fixing, doing it all, staying busy, waiting to be chosen, waiting to prove your worth. And if something easier, softer, or more abundant started to show up, your mind goes, wait, this feels off. This doesn't match my programming. And then your body will follow. This is why so many people say, why do I keep attracting the same type of person? Or why do I keep ending up back at zero? Or why does it feel like peace makes me more anxious than pressure? It's not that you don't want to feel better. It's that your subconscious hasn't been shown that better is safe. So when I say you're not addicted to struggle, I really mean it. No one wakes up and says, you know what would be fun today? I'd really like to struggle again. But if struggle feels more familiar than rest, if urgency feels more normal than calm, then of course you'll create what you know. This is also why affirmations or mindset works only sometimes. You feel like they don't stick because you can say I'm worthy all day long, but if your body is embracing for the moment the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, you're not really receiving the affirmation. You're not embodying it. You don't believe it. You're reciting it. And that is a huge disconnection. This is why the nervous system work, the subconscious reprogramming, the inner childhood healing, it all matters so much because we're not just chasing the thoughts, we're chasing the familiarity. Joe Dispenza talks about this idea quite a lot, and I have studied a lot of his work. And he has this idea that most people are living in a loop. He says your thoughts are a record of your past. So if you wake up every morning and you think the same thoughts, you feel the same emotions and take the same actions, guess what you're doing? You are creating the same future as your past. You're copying and pasting yesterday into today. And then we wonder why nothing's changing. It's like you brush your teeth first, then you make your coffee, then you scroll Instagram, then you shower while doing it all on autopilot. And then we say, why am I stuck? You're not stuck. You're just rehearsing a reality that no longer fits the version of you that's trying to grow. And until you interrupt that loop, interrupt that pattern with a new thought, a new habit, a new choice, your life stays the same. Change feels hard, not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to protect you with predictability. Your mind doesn't know what these new behaviors are. It doesn't know if it's safe. It's like, oh no, don't do that. There might be a cliff if you try something new and you might die. This is exactly why diets don't work. You can follow a strict plan for 30 days or 6 weeks or whatever, and you see some changes, but then what happens? You fall back into the old habit. Not because you didn't have willpower, but because you never changed the identity underneath. And someone else that I've really studied is Bob Proctor. He says this over and over again in his work. If you try to change your behavior without changing the belief system behind it, it won't last because you're still operating from the same self-image. You can eat all the kale and do all the morning workouts, but deep down, you still believe, well, I always fell, or I'll never keep the weight off, or I'm just not someone who sticks to things. Then your subconscious will find a way to bring you back to that truth. It will sabotage, distract, delay, because the outer world always reflects inner programming. Always. So let's talk about how this actually shows up. Think about this. Have you ever known exactly what you should do, like logically, but then you've done the complete opposite? Of course you have. We all have. It's like, I know I should go to bed early, but here I am watching a documentary on jellyfish migrating at 1:30 a.m. That's because in a battle between logic and emotion, emotions always win, period. Every time. We're not rational creatures. We're emotional creatures who think. And if your emotional body is still tied to survival mode, is going to overlook your logic every single time. That's why someone can say, I know I'm safe now, but I still panic when money leaves my account. Or I know he's not good for me, but I can't stop thinking about him. That's your emotional pattern running the show. Let me give you an example that's a little more real life than jellyfish documentaries, although jellyfish are pretty damn cool. I was once having this conversation in one of my groups, and there was this young woman. She was super smart, ambitious, really self-aware, and she said something that stuck with me ever since. She told us, I know I want to go after big opportunities, but when they actually show up, I freeze. I either procrastinate or I talk myself out of it completely. And then I just feel like I'm sabotaging myself. Well, when we explored it a little bit more, she opened up about her home life and said, my mom was always stressing about money, always. And I think deep down, I feel guilty doing well when she's struggling. That moment was such a powerful reflection of how much our environment shapes us and how easily we can attach struggle to love, to loyalty, even to our sense of identity. That right there, that's it. That's the familiar pattern trying to protect her. Because in her subconscious mind, struggle equaled loyalty. Success equaled disconnection. And so her system clings to what it knows, even when it goes against what she actually wants. We don't sabotage because we're weak. We sabotage because we're wired for survival. And that wiring is usually based on outdated instructions from childhood, from trauma, from environments we no longer live in. Like, it's a manual from 1990 that we haven't updated yet. So healing, it isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about rewriting the code that told you struggle is who you are. So here is something that really blew my mind when I first learned about it. Your brain is essentially filtering your reality based on what it already believes to be true. So if you believe that life is hard, that people always leave, that money is stressful, guess what? Your mind will look for evidence of that and filter out anything that contradicts it. It literally edits reality to match your beliefs. Like, have you ever had a boss or a coworker that you didn't really vibe with? Like, yeah, we all have. And then you just started collecting evidence to prove that they were awful or they were annoying. You overlooked every decent thing they did. But the second they did something irritating, boom, confirmation. We do this with everything. We don't see the full picture. We see the versions of reality we're already subscribed to. If you tell yourself, I always hit every red light, well, guess what? You're going to hit every red light, and you're going to notice and remember every single red light. If you say people are selfish, you'll find all the ways they're selfish and completely missed moments that they showed up for you. It really can be that simple. What you look for, you find. So let me just give you another example. We all love Target. It's just like going to Target for one thing and somehow walking out the door with $200 worth of shit you didn't need. You didn't plan to buy it because you walked down the aisles you always walk down. You picked up things you always grab, didn't even question it. You just did what felt familiar. You didn't even notice it until your bank account sends you this passive-aggressive text like, really? Again? That's what your subconscious is doing. It's walking the same aisles of belief and behavior over and over again until you interrupt the pattern and choose something new. That is what your subconscious is doing. It's grabbing beliefs off the shelf without checking the labels over and over again until you slow down. Become conscious and say, wait, is this even true? Is this belief mine or was it handed to me? And this is the exact thing that Joe Dispenza teaches, that you can do all the right things on the outside. But if you don't change your inner world, your external world will not shift. You can take all the right supplements, eat all the cleanest foods, get your steps in, drink the water, do the cold plunge. But if you're still waking up every day thinking the same thoughts, feelings, the same stress, reliving the same fear patterns, your body is still in survival mode. And that survival chemistry, it overrides everything. You'll still burn out. You'll still get sick. You'll still find yourself exhausted, even though technically you're doing all the healthy things, because your thoughts are still signaling your nervous system. They're staying in fight or flight. And it's wild how normalized this has become, to look healthy on paper, but feel completely like shit and misaligned underneath. Because healing isn't just about what you eat or how much you move. It's about how you think, how you feel, and what you believe about yourself when no one's watching. Your cells are listening. Your subconscious is running the show, babe. And until you change that inner world, your outer world will always snap back to its original set point. Every single time. So, what I want to ask you now is, where in your life are you still attached to struggle? Because it's what you've always known. You've never been taught anything different. Is it in your finances? Is it in your relationships? Is it how you treat yourself? Is it how you show up as a parent, as an employee? Are you clinging to stress because ease feels boring? Are you replaying old patterns because healing feels unfamiliar, scary, unknown? The good news is you can rewire all of it. You can teach your subconscious that rest is safe, that money can feel expansive, that love can be calm, that you don't have to perform to be worthy. But it's going to feel awkward at first, and it's going to be hard. It's going to feel wrong before it feels right, because your body will try to pull you back to the old rhythm, even if that old rhythm and pattern is what broke you. It will pull you back. This is the message I want you to hear today. Stop trying to feel comfortable. Instead, try to feel safe, because comfort and safety are not the same thing. What's comfortable might be chaotic, but it's familiar. What's safe might feel boring at first, but it's actually where your nervous system starts to exhale. That's the work. Not just changing your mindset, but changing your beliefs. Because until you show your subconscious that peace equals safety, you'll keep reaching for the struggle you've always known. So here's your challenge. I want you to pick one familiar pattern this week and interrupt it. If you always wake up and grab your phone, try taking 3 deep breaths first. If you always eat lunch while working, sit down and just eat without working. If you always say yes, even when you're drained, try saying, let me get back to you. The smallest shift is how you signal safety to your system. That's how you tell your brain, we don't have to live there anymore. So, you're not addicted to struggle. You are just used to it. It's familiar. But you're allowed to create a new normal, one that doesn't cost you your peace, just to feel alive. Try just one pattern interruption this week. And I want to thank you for being here, for letting me share my story, and thank you for showing up for yourself. If this episode spoke to you or you know someone that could benefit from this, share it in your stories and tag me at Evolved Mind with Jenn. That's Jenn with 2 N's. Or leave me a comment. I always love knowing what lands with you guys. And if you're ready to go deeper into this kind of work, reprogramming your mind, regulating your nervous system, and breaking free from the cycles of the hustle and the hurt, I've got you. Check out the show notes or visit my website to join my next program. I'll leave some links below that will be super helpful to you. I am so full of love and gratitude that I get to share my story with you. This is Her Subconscious Blueprint, where we don't just chase our dreams, we become them. And remember, you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So go out and be her today. Much love. I will see you next time.